Do you ever just want to throw a dog in front of a car?
Oh, God.
Or maybe just watch somebody else do it? Then we have a special for you. Today we are talking about Punisher: One Last Kill.
Welcome back to another episode of Friends from Work, a podcast about all things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, hosted by myself, Kyle Sconawill, and my longtime friend from work. Those crack me up so much because we don't rehearse what the little tag hook is going to be. And so I said, do you have one this week? I think you've done like 2 or 3 now, and every time it just gets me. How are you, dude? How are you thriving this week, Rob, in life? How are you thriving?
Oh, good question. You know what? Last night, this is a deep cut for longtime listeners here. I went to a Dave Matthews Band concert.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And
unreal.
Like always, just really fills your cup. Here's the thing about Dave Matthews, and I'm not going to go super
Dave
into
Matthews
this, but
would not fill my cup, to be fair.
Which is totally fair. It's totally fair. It's such a ridiculous thing. But it's just this 12-person band, and they're all just
absurd.
very good at their respective instruments and just having a blast. And if
wasn't
you're
your
there,
PlayStation name like Dave Matthews fan?
that's the deep Dave fan, the deep cut. I was like a Dave. Here's the the way that these things progress. I'm realizing I was a Dave Matthews fan in high school, and then what happens in your 20s is you fully understand, you're too aware of what's cool, so you wind up stripping all that stuff away, and then I think a lot of your 30s is just kind of reclaiming the things that you originally liked and then told yourself you didn't have permission to like.
That is so true. That's my friend Grant too. It's like he was one of those people that once Arcade Fire won their Grammy, now they weren't cool anymore because they were being recognized. And I remember, we were such music snobs at age 22. It was you are a lesser person because you listen to Dave Matthews, and let me tell you why. And then by the time we were 32, you're like, this Call Me Maybe song kind of rocks. I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of awesome. It's all of a sudden you start.
It's just more I think that's the case with Marvel too. In a lot of ways, it's you can.
Oh, look at that!
It's why I think the conversation has been so different depending on the year and the phase, and if you're trying to do the thing that is defensible and cool, then there are moments where Marvel is that, and then there are going to be moments when it's not that. And it's if you like it and you have fun with it, then just enjoy liking it and having fun with it. It doesn't have to be a whole thing that you either enjoy ironically or that you like. So I don't know. I think going to things like that where everyone's just having a great time and it's just so silly, and I told Candace there's a 20-minute flute solo at one point.
Oh.
And it was just
and it was so good.
But it was so good, and everybody was losing their minds.
That there was a flute solo.
In any other context.
Straight up Anchorman style. Yeah.
Yes, no, it was actually straight up Anchorman style. And any other context, people will be walking out. And at a Dave Matthews show, they're like, yes, that is why I'm here. Double it up. So that's how I'm.
More importantly, how about you going to 2 concerts in the last 2 weeks all of a sudden?
I know, right? And it's not
I don't know about you. Concerts are not really a huge part of my life anymore, and I kind of need them to be. But you've now gone to... Yeah.
No, they've been they have both been things that I sort of I did at Candace's insistence because she thinks that I
You got real quiet when you said that.
am too
insistence.
I
blink twice if she's right behind you.
Right. I spend I maybe spend too much time on work things.
No,
and so
that can't be.
Allegedly, but you know what? It is like
Frank can loosen you up a little bit here.
It is that I think the value of stuff like that, and in some ways, I think that I had to get some distance from playing music professionally to enjoy concerts in this way again, because it's really hard to not think through that lens when you're like constantly on stage and like, oh, like I like the way that they did that, and I like that transition, and that's really cool, and I like, oh, that didn't really work, or like that sounds a little bit off, and you're just filtering it all through your like critic mind, which is also why like playing Nashville shows was always kind of terrible, because your whole audience is that. But when you can get out of that,
I do think aging and maturing, like you started with, is the most important thing, though. Even more than that, because I'm still in professional music, and I'm starting to join you in that, like, concerts are becoming fun again, and I can just appreciate, like, I never would have used to like see a country player on Broadway and think like, oh, that's my scene, or I would have been critiquing like you're saying, but now I'm able to just go, holy crap, that guy's unbelievable, and get enjoyment out of what he's doing more. It just you're right. Yeah. Professional music for sure, but I think the aging and just maturing a little bit is more the thing.
It's sort of a forced reset in a way, in that you're kind of like, you're in this room with a bunch of people that you probably wouldn't be in a room with otherwise, and there's this like one kind of unifying thing where someone's performing whatever, and I just think it's like, if it's a good show and a fun show, it kind of like gets you out of whatever rut you're in, at least for the moment. And so I think that there's something to be said about like, I mean, it's why I think going to the movie theater can do something similar, like just something about like actually kind of having to like shut down whatever program your brain has been running and like run something else, and just kind of like, I don't know.
I agree with all that. I think it also matters a tiny bit for work. There's something a little bit nice about me going to work at this studio for like X amount of hours, and not it being in my house, or just quick pull my computer up all the time or whatever. So, okay.
Wait,
so
what about you though?
How about us wearing the same shirt basically today?
I know. I was just looking at that.
Very similar colored shirt. I'll tell you one thing that's been fun tied to concerts is that my daughter has gotten really into them. We used to think that she was a little overly sensitive to loud things. So like fireworks, concerts, etc. were not her thing. And in the last couple of years, she's just blossomed into being obsessed with concerts. So anyone listening out there, shout out to Disney's Descendants and Zombies.
Oh, nice.
Because we've been listening to those songs so much. She's actually never seen the show. She makes my wife watch the show because she doesn't want to watch it, and then tell her what's happening during the song. But she's memorized the whole thing. We're probably now going to go to the Worlds Collide tour. If anyone out there knows what I'm talking about, like Johanna, you probably know what I'm talking about. We're going to go to this Worlds Collide tour, and she's obsessed with the songs. But a couple times in the last week, we went to like a pizza place called East Nashville Brew Works, where they had like a live band outside. And we thought, right when we walked in, we thought, oh, it's going to be a little too loud. No, she gets up front and center and like uncomfortably stands right in front of the artist.
Yeah.
And she dances.
Oh, that's awesome.
She loves it. So we give her like a couple bucks to go tip in the bucket. Yeah. And then last week for Mother's Day, we were at a restaurant where there was a country girl singing. She stood in front of her. She asked if she'd go up there. She stood there the whole time, got her autograph, thought it was so cool
to get this autograph. Fun.
So we're thriving in that. Yeah, she's now loving concerts. So Annika and I have been having conversations. We may need to take her to a few more things like shows in general. So I don't know where it's coming from, but like we watch the Worlds Collide tour on Disney Plus as our show now at home all the time. And she's like so disappointed that Freya and Kylie Cantrell aren't going to be at the Nashville concert. Apparently it's probably different people. Okay, we got to go.
I love that.
I love it too. It really brings a lot of joy to my heart. The Punisher special brought a lot of something to my heart for sure. Okay, let's get into the Punisher special presentation, here's our first impressions. And Robbie, honestly, because it was so short, like my first impressions are kind of going to be tied to friendly feedback pretty naturally here. So we're going to kind of knock out two things at once. I haven't talked to you about it at all. I mean, okay, so incredibly violent. So well done, looked amazing. I thought it was well acted, appropriate for what they're going for. And I realized this isn't really my cup of tea. So I'm just going to be totally transparent and say, this is probably the line. So if all the listeners are always wondering, like, what is the line? This is probably it. I thought it was good. It's just like, I was literally laughing in the middle at one point because I was like, this is so over the top. It was almost as if they were like, you want to see this guy kill a bunch of people? We're going to give you 20 minutes of almost like a video game, like a zombie attack.
It was like a video game, yeah.
Where it's just like,
even the way he would like pick up and reload the weapons felt like a video game.
Yeah. And it was awesome. Like, as a guy who plays Call of Duty, I love seeing him like mess with the AK-47 and how he has to reload it and all this stuff. But wow, it's violent. So look, I liked it. I have no idea what the impression has been from other people. Do you know what the response is going to be? My guess is that this is going to be like an 82%, in that it was a little short to kind of do all the emotional beats they want for me.
Yeah.
But well made, well acted. And I'm just kind of acknowledging at the offset here, right at the beginning, that this isn't really my cup of tea.
Yeah, man, I thought it was so strange. Like the word that kept coming up in my mind was uneven. Like, because there were parts of that special that were like some of the best Bernthal work I've seen. Like the scene when he's sitting at the grave, like the first time, when he's just like, when he's, especially when it's focused on him, like there are a couple flashes and he's sort of thinking about it, like that really got me. And he like, I mean, he's just an actor that I love watching. And I really like the way he kind of embodies this character. I think he brought something specific for this. And I think that sort of sums up like the two things that one of the two things that I thought worked really well about the special. And that was kind of his, like, the turn of I'm no longer the guy that is just trying to get payback. I'm now the guy that's going to try to actually kind of protect people. Like, it's sort of the same turn that like Pattinson's Batman gets at the end of that movie, when he kind of goes from being just the like, I'm gonna like take down the bad guys, to more I'm going to actually kind of protect the good guys or like the innocent people. And I thought that they handled that well, and that had a lot of resonance. And then the other piece that I thought was really fun and handled well was the actual, like the final sequence of him in the building and everybody coming for him, and just the kind of like Warner style things in there were really fun. And again, like both the action and the choreography was great, but also what Bernthal was bringing to it. So like those things I think are probably the heart of the special. And those are the things that I thought were really, really good. And really, like, if you're wanting something from The Punisher, I would think that's kind of what you want.
Totally agree. Okay, on the friendly feedback side, on the what didn't work, I think two things. One, I understand the story they were telling, and I agree with those, what worked, very effective.
Yeah.
I a little bit felt like it was so short. I don't know why I was thinking it was going to be like an hour and 15 kind of thing. Like, not
I kind of had that in my head too.
But that's kind of dumb, because I looked it up, and Werewolf by Night and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday were the same thing, like 40 and 49 minutes.
I think I just because of the things I had read about this, it kind of made it felt almost like a movie length thing in kind of the way that I had seen Bernthal talk about it. But I don't think I had any real reason for that.
I think they also didn't market it as a full length, so that's on us a little bit. Like, I think if it had been a feature length thing, you would have seen a lot more about it.
Right.
I don't know what did work. It definitely felt like one comic issue. You know, like
For
not
sure.
a whole book.
Yeah.
It felt like if you were just looking at what's one story of a Punisher thing, here's the one issue. And so in that way, I think the tight time run time was fine and worked pretty well. And in that way, I definitely think if you were a fan of the violence and stuff of the original Punisher, you certainly are not disappointed here. As far as I know, this is probably more violent than anything on Netflix from the first two Punisher seasons, I think. I rewatched both of them. It's definitely.
I haven't seen season 2, so but seems more
it's
violent
in the
than
same
season 1.
vicinity. Yeah, in the same vicinity. But I do wonder, like, so for me, him putting the flowers the kid gave him at the grave was an emotional beat, and it did work. And I'm with you, the acting was there, but because it was so short, I guess I didn't fully buy. Like on paper, I understand why he turned, but it was kind of crazy to me. Not crazy. It happened a little fast to go from I'm about to end my life to I'm fully back on the board in 44 minutes.
Yeah.
And really just because he had a single interaction with this family, I guess like if this had been a full length film, you could have fleshed that out a ton. You know, like he visited that cafe all the time or that bakery all the time. And this little girl meant something to him. And even more so you could hint at she reminds him of his daughter.
Yeah.
But because it was really fast, it felt almost abrupt to me to be like, oh, so now he's like back because of this one family.
Yeah. I mean, that I think that part I was okay with because I thought the whole time you're in his head and you see him wrestling with what's the purpose and he kind of almost gets there a couple of times, but he's also so like he's in such the state of despair and is like, I mean, having like kind of a psychotic break, like he's hallucinating things and so like I feel like just the act of her coming up and like hugging him, it was kind of a grounding experience. And then he realizes like, that is like there are people like now it's like, like on the kind of Spider-Man side of it, like if he does take his life, I think he's now realizing that in doing that, he would also kind of be taking like that family's lives, because if he's not going to be there to protect them, like nobody is. And I think that like he's realizing what he really wants is like, if he can't have protected his own family, at least he can do that for others.
Yeah.
My problem was the execution of some of that, and that like the writing,
which is written by John Bernthal, right?
Yeah. And
oh like boy, he's about to body bag him. Like
no. Listen, like most of Frank's stuff, I thought was good, and that makes sense. Like Bernthal would understand the character. I feel like this is one of those things where we praise Born Again for often doing so many things with one scene or with one exchange, like the dialogue being so tight and efficient. And for a special that is only this long, I felt like this was way looser than any one episode of Daredevil Born Again.
Like in the actual dialogue or what the overarching story was?
Both, but first with the dialogue, like there's a thing, like
nothing with the dialogue bothered me, for the record, really.
But
you're always more attuned to that than I am.
I think that there were a couple of moments where it's like, okay, like you have now gotten this across in a way that is either subtle or not subtle, but effective. And then there would be like two more lines to do the same thing. Like as an example, when the girl comes up to hug him at the end, that would be enough, right? Like that's, you understand what's happening in that moment. He looks down, she says he sees
like, no,
her,
wait, and talks to him.
And then it's like, and because they also have her dad, like they give you like 2 or 3 different shots of her dad. kind of nodding and thank
First they
you,
get the
and then
nod,
she comes back.
then
and,
they go for like a handshake kind of thing, right? Doesn't he? Like, he steps back in.
Yeah, and the whole thing was just kind of like I got like, this is one of those scenes where if it was just she hugs him, he looks up, the dad gives him like a quick nod, and he walks out. I think that would be so much better.
This is where you're so much better about writing than I am. Because I didn't notice that, but now, yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Just a couple of, and the only reason it stuck out to me as much as it did, I think, is because it was a relatively short, it's a one episode thing, and they wind up trying to do a lot in that one episode, but then they are often not, like, it's like no one came back through and made sure that they were being economical about it. And so there are certain things like what you're saying where like some things feel jarring, some things feel like they're like living in it a little too long. And then it's like I almost, like, I'm not sure that I get what they were doing with the mom from the Italian family that's been like Judith Light's character.
Who I thought she did great.
I thought she did great too. And I think it's a really interesting, like, look, what you're so mad about people doing to your family, you've now done to my family. Like, I thought that was a really powerful thing to explore. But I just don't think that they had it, like, they didn't have enough time to really explore it. Like, it felt like this, like, okay, he's walking into his apartment and she confronts him. And then she's like, now everybody's coming and they're all going to kill you. And it just, it feels
right.
like...
And I didn't even fully understand the mechanics because was the family was dirty, right? That's why he was killing them. They were a crime family.
I think that they were involved in...
The mother was highlighting
death,
all the
right?
like good traits, which makes sense. But it kind of left me feeling like, oh, he did just murder like an okay dude by the last kid.
Right. Yeah,
and did he? Or was he involved with a crime thing?
I mean, she made that comment about like, he never touched those girls or those kids or whatever. Like I believe he was, so maybe they were leaving a
either
little
way.
hook
That's
for,
what I mean by it felt a little fast. Cause like, I was like, oh, I don't know enough about this to really be moved with why she's going psycho. Like that could be a whole season, is that he kills that family and now he's dealing with the ramifications,
Yeah.
But also I understand why they don't, whatever. Like,
no, sure. But I guess like I just got the sense that there were a lot of good ideas in this, and I just think maybe there were too many ideas for a 44-minute special, just because like
I also could have lived with him wrestling with his purpose or lack thereof for a long time.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Like that could have been, if it was a movie, that could have been 30 minutes before anything really happened of him walking by crimes and not doing anything and just like feeling nothing and having these hallucinations and these people haunt him and then go to this climax of the first act of he's going to end his life. Then you stretch out that's what I meant by like, if it's a future or a full length film, a feature film, it makes sense to me because then the whole middle act is like, look, the town has gotten bad because you killed these families, but I want to know like, why did he kill this crime family? Like how involved was the crime family? Were they doing a bunch of bad stuff? In what way? Was that him going too far? Like maybe he did just kill a guy out of vengeance that really didn't deserve it. And so now he's wrestling with that. And that's why the mother is extra mad. When she's pointing out that they're both lonely, I thought that was really effective, but I want to feel that more from her perspective. And then you have the fight, and then you could have this third act that's like, oh, I realize that this is now, I mean, what they did, but they did it all in 44 minutes. It's what they did, but they did it all in 44 minutes. Which, by the way, so like, I think my biggest positive is that it does serve as a practical explanation of just, like, it is a look at where Frank's been. Like, in the way that the Guardians, the holiday special didn't move the needle a ton, but it was a little bit like, hey, here's what they've been up to. And here's kind of like a fun Christmassy side story. This is like, hey, this is kind of a fun side story for a character that we haven't seen and would have had reason to ask, what's he been doing? And so
yeah,
it was effective in that it's like, oh, look, he's really going through stuff. He's totally checked out. I like him wrestling with this idea that now that he's killed everybody associated with his family still isn't back. And he still doesn't know what to do now. What's his purpose? Oh, poor Frank. I kind of liked that as a check-in. And then, oh, he's still got it. Like he's still got all the fighting tactics. And then, honestly, the most effective part was, it was kind of cool for me to see the very ending with him come out with the new haircut and the full jacket to be like, okay, this sets up Brand New Day. He's back.
Right.
Like he's back just like you're thinking. So in that way, it was a good check-in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think like, man, I mean, that final scene was just such a great Punisher scene. Like that whole sequence felt well earned. I say final scene, the big fight sequence. I think what was also weird, and I should you know this because I haven't watched the Punisher series since it first came out. But isn't that sort of how the first season opens? Like I thought I thought the idea was he kills everybody else involved, and then he goes and gets like a construction job because he's kind of done what he set out to do. Am I remembering that right?
That's very similar. It's not well, first of all, he's still killing people in Daredevil Daredevil season 2. You know, he's still killing gangs that are associated. Right. And when he becomes a construction worker, it's definitely less from the I'm depressed world. This is like he's got no purpose. I guess that'd be my one difference. Yeah. But yes, no. Mechanically, pretty much the same.
I guess I thought he had already killed everybody that was in any way involved.
I don't know. In Born Again, when we saw him, he's clearly still out there doing stuff. You know, he's got all the pictures on his wall still in Born Again. Right. He's got, so I don't know, maybe he's just stretching who was involved. You know, it gets further and further technically. And I think it's a little more, it's a little more shifting into he's killing bad guys, even if they're not involved, I guess.
I do think, I mean, thematically they're doing different things. And I do, like, I like this a lot as a way to explain not just kind of where he is going into Brand New Day, but it's sort of a, like, in a way, it is doing for the Punisher what I think we've talked about the Born Again series doing for Daredevil and a lot of the other Netflix characters, which is kind of like wrapping up some things and setting them up for real inclusion in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, like I'm not like this almost feels like it doesn't even take Born Again into account. Like, did you get the sense that, like, if like there's no, like, you know, he breaks out at the end of Born Again season 1, and there are all these like bad cops that are basically using his symbol and out there like murdering innocent people. And I think I got the sense like, okay, that in itself is a motivation for Frank. Like maybe he doesn't want to get involved in like the Daredevil war of it all. But like we talked about with the Daredevil finale, like I think that there are some moments where Frank is going to go off, especially given the fact that these people all kind of worship him. But it's interesting that not only is there no reference to that, like I think if you, and maybe this was the point, if you didn't watch Daredevil Born Again season 1 and just watch this, I don't think it would really change the experience. And maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe he wanted it to be a thing that kind of stands on its own. But I just thought it was interesting that it didn't seem like there was any real link between those projects at all as I was watching them.
Karen.
Yeah. But again, that could be a link to just from the Punisher series, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a fault necessarily. I just thought it was an interesting call.
Yeah, I it's not that I disagree. I'm not saying there is a link and here it is, but it was linked in enough for me to go, that makes sense. Like, he's mad about the cops, but at the end, he does leave. Born Again season 1, I mean. And I think you are, like, they reference him in season 2, like, that he's gone. So I think I could buy it as this really isolated small neighborhood in New York. I mean, if anything, the absolute lawlessness, the level of the lawlessness, like the post-apocalyptic, like throwing a dog in front of a truck just cuz.
Yeah.
That's where I a little bit wrestle with, how believable is this? Like, this is in New York still, right? This is not Zombie Land, or this is not, I don't know, Mad Max. You know, it's not Mad Max. This is still New York City.
Because, like, New York is supposed to be under this, like, kind of fascist regime where crime is being, like, ruthlessly eradicated. And I get that, it's being led by a criminal. Mm-hmm. But I still think, like, the whole Safer Streets thing, I know it's aimed at vigilantes, but I would think that, like,
Do we know when this takes place?
I don't think so.
Is it possible this is like around the rioting time of season 2 or afterward? Like, the Safer Streets thing is done.
That's my point, I think. Like, I think maybe there were things that they could have linked in that maybe would have given, like, at first, when this starts and he's walking through, or just with the scene with the guy, like, throwing the dog in front of the car, it is so aggressively, like, violent and bleak. Like, it actually does feel post-apocalyptic. Like, there are no rules. Everyone's looting everything, like, all the time.
Yeah, when he's doing that walk and there's, like, people taking a baseball bat to a store owner, it's like, whoa.
It's like shooting each other. Like,
can we not call the cops? And then one cop car shows up, but a guy, like, jumps on the hood and the cop car backs up and kind of retreats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that was maybe my biggest turnoff. So, like, not that it was not connected, I guess, but maybe that is a lack of connection to Born Again. But yeah, like, it didn't feel like the same New York kind of. Yeah. Which I don't, one thing I don't get is, like, Frank as a character maybe has to be there, but I feel like you can so easily solve this stuff if you don't put everything in New York. That's my thing always. Like,
right.
If this was just like Philadelphia, I feel like you could buy it. That Daredevil was doing this and Frank's over here doing this and he's trying to run from his past and, like, it's lawless and I don't know. Maybe don't take that, dude. That's not the headline of the episode.
Even the Netflix stuff, I thought did a pretty good job of that, because, like, what Luke Cage is doing in Harlem, it feels contained, even though there are big things happening there. It like, I think the model with Netflix was, Daredevil's in Hell's Kitchen, like, Luke Cage is in Harlem, and you kind of get this, like, yeah, like, they're aware, but there's no reason why they would intersect, and they have kind of different goals. But I think what's weird here is it's not necessarily, like, where is Frank? Because I would buy the fact that he's holed up and he's, like, on a bender or something. That feels fair. I think it's what you were saying about it just not feeling like the same city at all. And there not really being a clear, like, I guess the understanding is because he took out this mob family, there's now no structure and everything's just total chaos.
And the police's slowness to respond. I mean, he kills probably 30 people before a single cop car shows up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they are, like, all on the roof. Like,
and
it's been
also,
a few minutes
like,
already.
Like, I get, like, the power vacuum, but what does that mean practically? Like, was that family keeping all these people from just, like, eating each other, and now they're gone and everyone's like, all right, like, yeah, let's just lose our minds?
I think it's just they wanted it to be effective, and for you to feel the lawlessness, I think they went too far. Like, they just directed it too far. Like, when he was doing the slow walk, if you had toned down the amount of rioting in the background and looting by 40%, I don't think we'd have this question. You know, if it's like if they were just trying to break into that cafe that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Or, like, maybe, and then maybe that incident incited a few other riots. Sure. And let me be clear. I buy the mama whatever, Nucci, sending all the criminals to him. So like all of the assault on his apartment makes sense.
Right.
But once he gets down to the street and people are just like beating each other for no reason, that's where I'm like, huh. Or like you said, before that moment where he's choosing to just ignore it, it is like literally Mad Max in the background while he's walking.
Right. Yeah. And there are some things that I'm just not even really sure. Like there's the one guy that is just like clearly mentally ill. And there's like the comment about like that man needs medication.
Oh yeah.
That's like in the cafe.
Yeah.
But like,
I think they were trying to do this whole mental health thing as well as like per the outro credits. I don't know if you saw like the mental health hotline that you could call.
Oh yeah.
But again, because it like, yeah, to your point, because it's over the top and because the runtime was short, I'm not sure it was as effective as it could have been as like a look at all these people are wrestling with stuff thing.
I almost like, I think the problem for me is that they rooted it in this whole area, like block, section of town, neighborhood, whatever, being just in total chaos. Like that is the first like shot that you get is like the dog thrown in front of the car. Like I think if this had opened with him killing that family, and then like that's the kind of cold open instead of the like Frank just like walking in the apartment, and then you see everything play out after that, and then it comes back to him. Like I like the realization of like I can chase her down or I can like help people, and I'm going to choose to help people. I think you could do all of that, and her character would make a lot more sense because you're laying the groundwork like at the very start. This is what this special is about. It's about this turning point for Frank. But instead, it kind of sets the stage of like what this special is about is this like city that's gone to hell and it's total chaos, and what's Frank going to do about it? And I the pieces are there. It just doesn't feel like it was. Yeah. I don't know. Like it. That's why I say it felt like it was maybe doing a lot.
We gotta be a little bit sensitive here because I'm aware of the fact as I'm recording this, which it's before it's coming out, that there are a lot of listeners right now that are disappointed in our negativity toward this, because I know there will be people that love it, and that's great. We love that you love it. I agree. I think there are things I would have done a little bit differently. I think what you're trying to say with the lawlessness too is like it's also a little bit of the ramifications, not just of Frank killing the family, but Frank not able to do his job. You know, like Frank's not been able to protect the streets too. And so I think that's why it's extra bad is what they're trying to say. And then like by the end, you know, when Frank is inflicting his justice, it seems like things are better, which even that is kind of funny because like, you know, he can just, it's a unique role because he can just go up to any criminal with no due process. Like could just be a guy who, you know, stole $50 from a store and the store owner goes like,
right.
And we're just like, we're going to end this guy's life, you know, thumbs down, or he just gives him like one nod, like, should I kill him? And he's back, you know, he's back in. But now, again, back to the positive for me. First of all, I did think the actual fight was incredibly well choreographed. I mean, every shot, every punch felt incredibly believable, realistic. Nothing looked weird. It looked amazing, I thought. And if you're looking for unique ways for Frank to kill people, using guys as body shield, knifing people, stabbing a guy to death with a pen, machine guns, pistols, out of ammo, which I also appreciate. Like they were very realistic about how many shots are in a magazine. And like I said, like the end shot of him in his full outfit with the haircut, it did really get me going. I was like, okay, it is nice. Like with the metal music playing, dun, 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 dun. Like he's killing this guy who killed the dog. You know, like we're going to end this guy's life.
Needle drop there in the cafe was wild also.
Yeah. I thought the kind of lighthearted music thing to start the fight worked pretty well. Like, to point out kind of the absurdity of what's about to happen here, like everyone in the world being murdered. So I love that too. I'm with you that like it didn't fully meet my expectations. And I would say for like someone like Annika, there's no way in HE double hockey 6
right.
that she's watching this. So I just basically
Right.
told her, I was like, here's what happened. And when you just tell someone, it's like, there's not that much on paper. You like they're trying to do a lot, but you're like, look, Frank is really depressed.
Yeah.
He's like about to end his life. And then he's moved by this family, and this little girl. And so he decides to start doing the right thing, and now he's back. You know, that's essentially it, which is cool, you know, like great.
I think the other thing I struggle with just thematically. No, I'm raising these things and
just for the record to all our listeners, I'm the one trying to get this back on the positive rails and Robbie's out there. So
hey,
just want the record to show it's not me this time criticizing something.
I'm just honestly reacting. I think
I love it. Authenticity.
There's some confusion thematically too, because like what I was saying earlier about like the turning point and the way you just talked about it, that I think is compelling and works. I think it actually gets like there's that piece. There are two things it's trying to do at once, I guess. It is trying to do, he's now reached the end of his mission. Does he call it, or is there another higher mission? And he ultimately finds that, and I think all that was well handled. There's also something else going on about, okay, are you actually, like, is what you're doing correct? Like, is killing all of these people, is that truly right? Because one, you have done to this woman what was done to you, but also you have maybe caused all of this lawlessness yourself by taking out this family, because there's an implication that,
or at least
there's a power vacuum. Like, and not only that, but also you are now like, whenever he saves that family in the cafe, there is an argument to be made that he is the one that kind of put them in danger in the first place, either by taking out this crime family that was sort of running the area, or by drawing all these people to his apartment because he's Frank Castle and he's a target. So it's like,
yeah, but that's part of the gray area, right?
Yeah. Well, but the gray area, I think, for the Punisher is always like, he will, like, is it okay for you to just murder people without due process, even if they're terrible?
Right.
It's weird to me when it gets into like all of these people are running around beating and like killing each other. And Frank has kind of ushered that in by moving into this neighborhood, and doesn't really feel, it doesn't seem like he feels any responsibility for that even at the end. I think at the end, he's just kind of like, okay, well, now I know that I need to protect people and kind of use my violence for good and do the right thing and get justice. But I don't know, like they're just, I think if you pulled out some of that stuff and made it just Frank is at the end and he's about to like, if it's a situation where he's about to maybe kill himself or he's like calling it and he's in his apartment, but then like somebody does a leak, like that Frank Castle's up there, and then all these people start coming to the building, and he has this moment where he's like, okay, I have done my mission, I could just call it, but now all these people are about to like, they're going to suffer as a consequence of what I've done, so I kind of have to pull myself out of it for a moment. And you fight off all these people, and then you have the cafe scene, and he's like, oh, it's more than that even, like, this is what I should be doing. That to me feels totally coherent, and you get all the best parts of the episode. I also like the Judith Light stuff, like what I was saying, but I just think it confuses the whole trajectory and like what his arc is supposed to be across this. So I think I kept thinking, even if you just made this like a 20-minute, 25-minute thing, like a short, and you just made it basically all him in his apartment, and then all these people coming and him breaking out and then, you know, winding up at the gravesite, and trimmed it way down, I think it would be really, really strong. You would have some of his best acting, you'd have some of his best action, and then I think you would have his best kind of character beat. But I think so much of the other stuff that they put in just kind of made it feel unwieldy to me. Like it was maybe too much for them to be able to satisfactorily handle within those parameters. End of rant.
Are you done? Golly. Well, I want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening along throughout this entire Daredevil saga. We've been so thankful to have you supporting us and checking out the podcast and joining the community. And we have a lot of fun stuff coming up for the rest of the year. Robbie, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to close this episode by talking about what are the greater MCU implications of this special. And then we can rank this special and get out of here and start building up towards Spider-Man, to be honest. About 2 months away at this point. We'll be right back after a quick word from these sponsors.
Oh, by the way, this is a friend of mine.
I am Groot!
You save the good stuff for special occasions?
All right, just following up. Now, it's not overly tied into the MCU, as we talked about already, as far as it's not overly tied into Daredevil Born Again. We did get a cameo from Karen, but even that's not directly tied because she's not actually there. By the way, I thought it could have been cool if she was actually there. After all these hallucinations, she was the one person and they thought that too because they had them hug and she says, I am really here, but then she's still not. But I feel like her actually being there would have been an interesting, would have been an interesting thing. Now, I think it's better from a romantic relationship thing that she's not because it's Frank's memory of her that like they care for each other, but she's currently with Matt at this given second. So that's more explainable that way. The biggest takeaway for me is that I do get a little bit of chills when he is inflicting his justice in this way. And to see how that interacts with Spider-Man is going to be the big thing, right? Like now that Frank, I mean, if we buy that this is now Frank finding his purpose, let's say.
Right.
And like, I feel like at this point you can't tell that story again, right? Like you probably don't go back to what am I doing here? What's my mission anymore for Frank? If that's the case, kind of like I talked about with Daredevil, I don't know why I'm dying on this hill. In some ways, I feel like this felt like a very Netflix-driven thing still. And I don't know all the makers behind it, but it felt, I don't want to say the word fan servicey, but it did feel like we're giving the people who were fans of The Punisher from Netflix another taste of The Punisher from Netflix. Like, it's going to be equally as violent. It's not going to be tied into what Spider-Man's doing, what's happening in New York City with Yelena, etc. It's just going to be this sectioned off corner of New York where Frank is killing a bunch of people, and he's going to have the same emotional beats that to different, varying degrees of effectiveness with his family, which is something he's still wrestling with, which I've said before, they kind of go in and out with. There are times where he's like less concerned by it or burdened by it. And then there are times where it's like the sole driver. So this felt to me like they're going, hey, we're going to go back to that. He's about to end his life because he can't live without his family at the end of all this stuff. And so in that way, they did that. I'm really now, like Daredevil, looking forward to, I hope that somebody, whether it's Brad or Kevin Feige, can say, let's kind of close that chapter now. And now I want to see Frank in the MCU again. And not just like making an appearance in Daredevil, and this is why Spider-Man gets me really excited. What does it mean now for Spider-Man to have this character out there who is just killing people by a head nod from a citizen? And then you have Spider-Man who won't do it, and Daredevil who won't do it. Also, what could it look like to have this badass version of Frank unleashed on someone that we as the audience feel does deserve it? Like, it doesn't need due process. Like, this is a bad example, but it would be kind of fun to see Frank, in Wakanda, just mowing down all the aliens, doing his thing. Now, that's a bad example, but is there ever going to be an enemy where we just go, bring in Frank? It's time.
I mean,
it's time just to bring in Frank. Yeah, sure. So, like, I'm excited for them to lean into that side of it. I said Disney on the last episode. I more mean like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is bringing in these Netflix shows and characters. But like, I want to see what that looks like now that we're transitioned. Now they're here, but now, okay, there are certain things that they have to do now because they are here. They're not on Netflix anymore because they're in the MCU.
Yeah.
I need check-ins. I need like realistic implications. Is this the same New York City? I need all of those things like really tightened up for the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so him being in Spider-Man gets me excited.
And I do think that, there's a lot of fun stuff that they can do in the comics in terms of how the other heroes do interact with Frank, because I think, one of the tensions inherent in the genre, like, and Batman deals with this a lot, like this idea that, because Batman's got the won't kill rule, but he goes against these just like absolutely psychotic, murderous people, and like, or Spider-Man with the Green Goblin or whatever. It's like every time that you choose not to cross this line. I mean, Karen and Daredevil have this conversation in Born Again. You are actually like killing other people by letting this person survive, knowing that at like the first opportunity, they're going to try to go kill more people. So like, yes, we, like I get having that line, and I get like, I as the viewer want them to have that line, but you also kind of understand the real argument for like there's like a kind of famous Bendis exchange in one of his comics where he's like, at what point is Spider-Man responsible for everybody that Norman Osborn has killed? Like, because he wouldn't just like stop him permanently. Right. And
this is a thing that people in life wrestle with, and especially these superhero genre movies, they all wrestle with it to some degree. It's like it's Captain America and Winter Soldier going, do we need these ships, Nick Fury? And Nick Fury's like, but do we let them do all this bad stuff first? And then the people that all died because we were standing on like a moral high ground,
right,
and didn't want to do it. I mean, this is like a running theme of the entire saga.
Well, especially because you like in the superhero world, that they're going to get out again and they're going to do stuff again. And I think that him going in Brand New Day is actually perfect. I don't know how much they're going to pick up this thread, but like carrying where we leave Peter like forward. I thought one of the things No Way Home did really, really well that no other Spider-Man movie has is like, it's not just, it's like almost the inverse, right? Like, it's not, oh man, I was selfish and didn't stop this killer and now my uncle died. It's, I actually did the right thing and my aunt died
because of it. And Frank's the perfect opposite of that.
Yeah. Like,
because sometimes Frank will kill somebody like here when maybe he shouldn't have right away. And it leads to all these ramifications.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the fact that May, again, like before she dies, emphasizes like,
no, you did the right thing.
This was right. And this is why. And that's where you get the with great power. Then I think when Spider-Man does come into contact with Frank, there's a lot more there that's clashing beyond just the Spider-Man has a kill code and Frank doesn't, which is kind of what it boils down to in the comics often. It's like he has a real visceral like reaction now to this idea that like he now feels like, because of kind of the mission that May has given him, that it's not just, I shouldn't kill people. It's like, no, it's my job is to not kill people and
Frank
not let people
now
die.
Feels like he has a mission of, no, I have to kill people to protect the other people. Like perfectly like this.
Yeah, and I do think the special does a good job of setting, like, it is the benefit of the lawlessness is like, I mean, you're not like, that's not the New York, I guess, that Spider-Man's seeing. He's not seeing everybody just like ripping each other's throats out at like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. So you get from Frank's perspective, like, I can't go and sit them down and have a nice chat about what decisions they should be making in their life to like be in a better spot.
Right.
And I think that, so this at least gives you like now, we understand where Peter's coming from. And I think if nothing else, this is done a good job of showing us why Frank feels like not only he needs to protect people, but also why he kind of has to take it that far, because he feels like maybe that's what's required.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. Let's rank this for the file. And I think you should go first.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to rewatch it and circle back.
Okay.
I think.
By the way, with the lawlessness, I'm thinking in regards to the ranking. Like I was talking about Mad Max, like that last crime guy that bursts in is like shirtless and wearing like metal chains. I mean, it's literally Mad Max. Like this guy didn't have clothes on or anything, and he stabs him to death with a pen.
Okay.
Yeah, like kind of over the top is my point. Like a little,
oh no, for sure,
a little intentionally over the top. I get that they're trying to do that. It's an action show, but yeah, like just practically speaking, if it's dialed down, not the violence, but just like the cartoon nature of some of these people and the post-apocalyptic nature, it probably is more effective if it's just toned down.
It made me think of Logan several times.
Yeah.
And but even then, like I think that's maybe part of the issue, is that Logan was kind of meant to not be in continuity in any meaningful way. It's like, they're doing the post-apocalyptic thing, and that's fine because it's not really like linking in, but this is linking in and taking place, ostensibly present day. But that it made me think of that and Beau is Afraid, which I'm curious if anybody listening to this has seen that movie. But
yeah, in regards to the ranking thing is a little bit tricky because we're whenever we do this, we're right back to the same discussion of, should we rank all TV shows against each other? Should we rank TV shows against movies? Should we rank special presentations separate from TV shows because they're different things? Should we rank the Infinity Saga as one thing and then never touch it again? And then should we rank the Multiverse Saga as one thing and then never touch it once it's done? Like there's all these different debates. So I'm trying to just put, because we got some feedback on that on our Discord channel, I'm trying to just put this all into like a generic bucket with these rankings where it's like, yes, go to our website, the ffwpodcast.com, and you can see where we very specifically laid out the tiers. And in fact, we have a YouTube series where we ranked every Infinity Saga project as one episode. Then we ranked every Multiverse Saga movie as a second episode. Then we ranked every Disney Plus show as a third episode. So we have other rankings where it's really separated out. But the point of this letter scale is to kind of just give it a generic feeling. And so that's why during the Daredevil stuff, I said, if you're in the A range, A+, A minus, it's like spectacular. Spectacular. One of the best things I've seen. Like you're pushing my list. You're threatening to get on my list of the best movies I've ever seen. If you're in the B range, you're still above average. Like I would tell people you'll like this, etc. And then like somewhere in the C range is a more of an average show. Like you liked it, but there are things, etc. So I said, you go first. I think for me, I'm just thinking it's a C+. Maybe
that's
a B,
exactly what I was going to say.
Maybe a B-. I'll say C+ because the lowest episode of Daredevil, I gave a B-. I think is still probably a little bit tighter than this. The choreography here, the excitement of seeing Frank back, the unique ways they kill people are all huge positives. And that would push it, into the B range. But yeah, some of the writing concerns for me, you pointed them out. I didn't think of that at first, but like, yeah, I did feel like in general, like I said, the runtime, like they were trying to do too much in a shrunken amount of time, and therefore none of it was as effective as I would maybe want it to be. I think in general, its lack of connectivity to the greater MCU felt kind of just like a fun little side comic issue story about Frank. So in that way, I think C+ is pretty fair for me. And I realize as I say that a lot of our viewers are going to be a lot higher on that. And I'm okay with that. I can live with that. But I know there are people out there that are going to love this. Even since we started talking, I saw a couple reviews on my phone. They're going to be people that are higher on that, and that's okay. We were higher on Quantumania than almost everybody. You know what? C+.
Yeah. No, and you know, again, this is one that I'll revisit, and like I said, the final sequence, like there were certain moments here that were like real highs, like some of the Bernthal stuff, both like the really intimate stuff and the really kind of big scale stuff. And I think that on another watch, that stuff may be enough. And you know, this is also something that may benefit from another watch, in that now that I kind of understand what it's doing, like I think I might be able to follow it a little, like, not that I couldn't follow it plot wise, but you know, it's like now I kind of know what to look for instead of what I thought was some mixed messaging. So in any case, if people praise this for what Bernthal's doing, if they praise it for the action,
agreed.
I don't have any complaint.
Right,
there.
and in that way, we need to emphasize, it is so not like a falling off the boat. This is not like a, what are they doing? No. Oh, they've lost their way. A C+ is not like, oh, Marvel's screwed. This, you know, I think in that way, it was smart to have it be a special presentation. Like, if it was going to turn out like this, it's good that it doesn't have like as much marketing. It's not as much a thing. It's more like a, hey, if you want to know what Frank's been doing, here's what he's been doing. But you don't have to see it before Spider-Man. You can just assume that he's kind of back. And that way, I think it's good. And that's where the branding matters, I do think. You know? Yeah.
No, I think, like, I think it largely does exactly what it needs to. There's no part of it that makes, like, I would say I am only more excited to see more of Frank now. So the important thing is that they both
ruled.
kind of like, ruled. It ruled, and it like both scratches the itch, and also kind of like, I mean, the final reveal of the new suit and look and all of that.
And there's just something about, we've done so much between Daredevil and Frank with the Punisher. We've done so much of and it's so good, but we've done so much of I don't know anymore. It's just like so downer. Right. And so there's something kind of fun about the ending of like, if he's in Spider-Man is just like a badass killing people, I'm kind of okay with it. Like, I'm ready for him just to like not be questioning every decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, he's out there doing it. That gets me excited.
I think, I think that's right. I think, and you know, I will say, at least we do get the kind of bookend of like the dog killer getting taken down. I do question whether that could have been even, like, it was such a horrible thing.
You are so sensitive about dogs. That's the thing. You know,
there was just a part of me where I'm like, man, I kind of feel like this guy had it too easy. Like, all you did, you took his hat, and then you like
killed him,
shot him in the face. You know, like, he doesn't even really have to suffer that long.
Wow, this is dark. Killing the dog is such a crazy thing in general. Like, what does that gain anybody? Like, even stealing the hat, it's like, okay, I have power over you. I want your hat. Right. But killing the dog is a little bit like, okay, what did the dog do?
Yeah, and he's just a guy. Like, he's just not.
You love dogs. Okay, I'm going to close us in saying that Spider-Man comes out the end of July. I'm not 100% certain of our podcast schedule between now and then. X-Men 97 Season 2 comes out. I do know that if you want to hear a ton from us, subscribe to Friends from Work Plus, because we're going to do some screensaver episodes. And yeah, some of them might make the main feed for sure. But there are movies, Disclosure Day, The Odyssey, a couple shows I'm watching, Widow's Bay. There's going to be some screensaver stuff. I'm about to start reading Astonishing X-Men. Sorry for the delay. So our Marvel Comics 101 series is going to be back. So you're going to, like, Friends from Work is not going away. If you want to stay in touch with us, maybe subscribe to Friends from Work Plus, not to mention it really supports this podcast. And then we'll definitely have main feed episodes. I'm just not certain of the schedule yet. That's all. And then I'm trying to make plans for Spider-Man, so we'll get there when we get there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this journey. Let us know in the comments if you disagree with our take on the Punisher special. What did you love about it? And we'll be back soon, right back here, talking about stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe here on Friends from Work.